The space around Earth's moon was quiet and peaceful. Stars shone like tiny diamonds against the black sky. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Liberty Station, drinking his morning coffee. He looked out at the blue planet below and smiled. Earth looked beautiful from up here. Jake had been running the orbital defense platform for 3 years. Most days were boring. He checked systems, ran tests, and watched for space junk. The biggest excitement usually came from tracking old satellites. His crew of 12 people felt more like a weather station than a military base. At exactly 0800 hours, everything changed. The space around Pluto suddenly filled with light. Bright flashes appeared like lightning in a storm. Jake's coffee mug fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. On his screens, hundreds of red dots appeared at the edge of the solar system. "Sir, we're getting massive energy readings," said Lieutenant Gary Price, his hands shaking as he worked the controls. Something big just came out of hyperspace. Jake ran to the main display. His heart pounded as he watched the readings. The computer counted the objects. 100 ships, 200, 500. The numbers kept climbing. 847 contacts confirmed, Gary said, his voice barely a whisper. "They're big, sir, really big." Down on Earth, alarms started ringing in every military base. In the underground command center beneath Colorado, Admiral Ben Clark was eating breakfast when the red phone rang. He knew that phone only rang for the worst possible news. "Admiral, we have a situation," came the voice of Colonel Amy Foster. "Multiple contacts entering the solar system. Analysis suggests hostile intent." Ben dropped his fork and ran to the command room. The main screen showed a tactical display of the solar system. A massive red cloud sat near Pluto, slowly moving toward Earth. "How many ships?" Ben asked. 847 confirmed, sir. Each one is approximately 3 kilometers long. Ben felt his stomach drop. The entire human space fleet had only 23 ships. Most of them were small patrol boats, against nearly 1,000 alien warships. They had no chance. Aboard the alien flagship Sovereign's Wrath, Admiral Kethver stood 8 feet tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. His species, the Zephyrians, had conquered 17 worlds using the same simple strategy. Arrive with overwhelming force, demand surrender, and crush any resistance. "Target analysis complete," reported his tactical officer. "The humans possess primitive nuclear weapons and basic spaceflight. Their largest vessels are less than half a kilometer long. They have no energy shields and no plasma weapons." Kethver's mouth curved in what humans might call a smile. "This will be our easiest conquest yet. Begin the approach. Standard formation. We will reach their world in 6 hours." The Zephyrian fleet moved like a school of deadly fish through space. Each ship was a masterpiece of alien engineering. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields that could stop any human weapon. Their plasma cannons could melt a city in seconds. On Earth, President Lisa Parker sat in the White House Situation Room. Military leaders filled the table around her. Defense Secretary Tom Bradley showed her the satellite images. "Madam President, we're facing the largest invasion force in human history," Tom said. "Our best estimates suggest they have over 2 million troops. What are our options?" Lisa asked. General Carl Murphy, an old soldier with gray hair and tired eyes, spread out papers on the table. "We have Protocol Omega. It's a last resort plan we developed for exactly this situation. What does it involve?" "Everything, ma'am. Every ship, every weapon, every person who can fight. We throw everything we have at them and hope for the best." Lisa looked around the table. These were the best military minds on Earth, and they looked defeated before the fight even started. "How long do we have?" 6 hours until they reach Earth orbit, Tom said. In space, Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet getting closer. His small defense platform had 6 missile tubes and 2 laser cannons. Against 1,000 enemy ships, it was like bringing a slingshot to a tank battle. "Sir, incoming transmission," Gary said. "It's from the aliens. Put it through." The main screen flickered and showed Admiral Kethfer. His forearms moved as he spoke in perfect English. "Primitive humans of Earth. I am Admiral Kethfer of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been selected for conquest. You will surrender immediately and submit to our rule. Resistance is futile. You have 1 hour to respond." The transmission ended, leaving Jake and his crew staring at a blank screen. Down on Earth, the same message played on every television, radio, and computer. People stopped in the streets to listen. Some cried, some prayed, some got angry. In the command center, Admiral Ben Clark looked at the tactical display. The alien fleet was now past Jupiter, moving faster than any human ship could travel. He had 23 ships to defend an entire planet. "Admiral," said Captain Nicole Black, commander of the USS Defiance. "Orders, sir." Ben thought about his daughter, his grandchildren, and the billions of people counting on him. The odds were impossible. Any sane military leader would surrender and save lives. But Ben Clark had spent 40 years in the Navy. He had fought pirates in the asteroid belt and rebels on Mars. He knew that sometimes you had to fight even when you couldn't win. "All ships, prepare for battle," Ben said into his microphone. "This is Admiral Clark. Today we fight for everything we hold dear. Today we show these aliens what humans can do." Across the fleet, captains and crews heard his words. They were scared, but they were ready. They had families to protect and a world to save. The alien fleet continued its approach, confident in their superiority. They had crushed 17 worlds. Earth would be number 18. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The White House Situation Room buzzed with activity. President Lisa Parker sat at the head of the table, watching dozens of military officers work at computer terminals. Red lights flashed on status boards, showing Earth's defenses. "Talk to me about our fleet," Lisa said to Defense Secretary Tom Bradley. Tom pulled up a holographic display showing 23 blue dots scattered around Earth's orbit. "We have the USS Defiance, our largest ship, with Admiral Ben Clark commanding. 18 patrol boats, 3 cargo ships converted to carry missiles, and 1 mining vessel, against 847 alien warships," Lisa said quietly. "Yes, ma'am." Dr. Kevin Wright rushed into the room carrying a tablet computer. The scientist had been working for 18 straight hours, analyzing the alien ships through long-range telescopes. "Madam President, I have information about their technology," Kevin said, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "The good news is we understand how their systems work. The bad news is they're about 200 years ahead of us." Lisa gestured for him to continue. "Their ships use energy shields powered by fusion reactors. Think of them as invisible armor that stops bullets and missiles. They also have plasma weapons that can burn through our ship hulls like paper." General Carl Murphy leaned forward. "What about weaknesses?" Kevin scrolled through his notes. "Their shields work by creating an electromagnetic field around the ship, very effective against energy weapons and most projectiles. But they might have trouble with pure kinetic force." "Kinetic force?" Tom asked. "Think of a rock thrown really, really fast. Their shields are designed to stop sophisticated weapons, not simple masses moving at high speed." Dr. Susan Lee, another scientist, entered the room with more data. "I've been studying their formation patterns. They fly in perfect geometric shapes, like they're following a computer program. Very organized, very predictable." General Murphy's eyes lit up. "Predictable is good. Predictable means we can plan for it." Meanwhile, on Liberty Station, Captain Jake Morrison gathered his crew in the small briefing room. 12 people sat around a metal table, looking scared but determined. "Okay, people, here's what we know," Jake said, pointing to a display screen. The aliens will reach us in 4 hours. Our job is to hurt them as much as possible before they get to Earth. Lieutenant Gary Price raised his hand. Sir, we have 6 missiles and 2 laser cannons. How much damage can we really do? Jake smiled grimly. We're not going to fight them the way they expect. We're going to use Protocol Omega. He pulled up a technical diagram showing their defense platform. We're going to turn Liberty Station into the biggest shotgun in human history. The crew looked confused until Jake explained. We're going to disconnect the station's nuclear reactor and use it as a bomb. But first, we're going to fill the area around us with every piece of metal we can find. Nuts, bolts, pieces of hull, plating, everything. A debris field, said Chief Engineer Pete Rogers, understanding dawning in his eyes. Exactly. When their lead ships hit our debris field at high speed, it'll be like flying into a wall of bullets. Then we detonate the reactor and turn everything into shrapnel moving at incredible speeds. Across the solar system, similar preparations were taking place. On Mars, Colonel Amy Foster commanded the Planetary Defense Center. Her base had the most powerful missiles in the human arsenal. How many nukes do we have? Amy asked her aide, Major Rick Davis. 43 intercontinental ballistic missiles, each with multiple warheads, plus 18 antimatter bombs left over from the mining operations. Amy studied the tactical display. Not enough to stop their fleet, but maybe enough to surprise them. She opened the communication channel to Earth. Command, this is Mars Defense. Requesting permission to implement the Trojan Horse Protocol. General Murphy's voice came back immediately. Permission granted. Execute at your discretion. The Trojan Horse Protocol was a desperate plan. Amy would launch all of Mars's missiles, but not at the alien fleet. Instead, she would aim them at seemingly empty space along the aliens' flight path. The missiles would shut down their engines and drift like space junk. When the alien fleet passed by, the missiles would reactivate and attack from behind. On Earth's moon, Commander Linda Ross prepared her own surprise. The lunar base had been mining operations for 50 years, digging tunnels deep into the moon's surface. Those tunnels were about to become the biggest gun barrel in the solar system. How much mining explosive do we have? Linda asked. Enough to move a mountain, replied her chief engineer. Literally. Linda's plan was simple and insane. They would pack the main mining tunnel with explosives and every piece of metal they could find. When the alien fleet passed overhead, they would detonate everything at once, creating an artificial meteor shower aimed directly at the enemy ships. Aboard the USS Defiance, Admiral Ben Clark met with his ship captains via video conference. 23 faces looked back at him from screens around the command center. Listen carefully, Ben said. We're not going to fight like a traditional fleet. We're going to fight like pirates. Captain Nicole Black, commanding the patrol boat Swift Arrow, leaned forward. Explain, sir. Traditional space combat involves ships lining up and shooting at each other until one side wins. We don't have enough ships for that. Instead, we're going to use hit-and-run tactics. Fast attacks, then retreat. Make them chase us through the inner solar system. Captain Danny Hall, commanding another patrol boat, asked, what about the civilian ships, the cargo vessels? Ben's expression grew serious. There are secret weapons. We've loaded them with every nuclear bomb we could find. They're going to ram the alien command ships. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The crews of those ships were volunteering for suicide missions. Sir, said Captain Maria Santos from the cargo ship Braveheart, my crew voted. We're ready. Similar conversations were happening on the other cargo ships. Ordinary people, mechanics, cooks, communications officers, had volunteered to die to protect Earth. Back on the alien flagship, Admiral Kethfer reviewed the intelligence reports about human military capabilities. His tactical computer had analyzed every human weapon and found them primitive. Their nuclear weapons are crude fusion devices, reported his science officer. Our shields will absorb the energy with minimal damage. What about their space fleet? 20 small vessels. The largest is less than half a kilometer long. They pose no significant threat. Kethver nodded with satisfaction. Maintain current course. Signal the fleet to prepare for orbital bombardment. We will crush their space forces first, then demand surrender. The alien commander had conquered 17 worlds using the same strategy. Overwhelming force, followed by quick surrender. His tactical computers had never encountered an enemy that refused to follow logical military doctrine. Dr. Kevin Wright made one final discovery as the alien fleet approached. Working with telescopes on the moon, he detected something unusual about the alien communication systems. They're using quantum entanglement for instant communication across their entire fleet, he told the assembled leaders via video link. It's incredibly advanced, but it has one weakness. What kind of weakness? President Lisa asked. The system is designed for efficiency, not security. If we could generate the right kind of electromagnetic pulse, we might be able to disrupt their entire communication network. General Murphy leaned forward. Do we have anything that could generate that kind of pulse? Kevin smiled for the first time in days. Remember the prototype FTL communication array we built last year? The one that failed because it generated too much electromagnetic interference. The one that knocked out power across 3 states. That's the one. I think it's time to turn our biggest failure into our secret weapon. As the alien fleet passed Jupiter, human forces across the solar system finished their preparations. On Liberty Station, Jake Morrison and his crew said their goodbyes to their families via video link. On Mars, Amy Foster armed her hidden missiles. On the moon, Linda Ross prepared to turn her home into a weapon. The stage was set for the most one-sided battle in human history. At least, that's what everyone believed. The alien fleet reached Earth's outer defense zone at exactly 1400 hours. 847 massive ships moved in perfect formation, their energy shields glowing like blue fire against the black of space. Admiral Kethver stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the small blue planet grow larger on his screens. Begin the attack, he commanded. Target their orbital stations first. The lead alien ships fired their plasma cannons at Liberty Station. Brilliant beams of energy shot across space, ready to melt the human outpost in seconds. Captain Jake Morrison watched the plasma bolts approach and smiled grimly. Now, he said quietly, Liberty Station's nuclear reactor exploded in a controlled detonation. The explosion sent millions of pieces of metal flying in every direction at incredible speed. Nuts, bolts, pieces of hull plating, and chunks of machinery created a deadly cloud of shrapnel. The alien plasma beams hit the debris field and scattered in all directions. The carefully aimed shots meant to destroy the station instead lit up space like a fireworks display. What happened? Admiral Kethver demanded. Unknown, sir. The human station appears to have self-destructed. Our targeting computers are having difficulty acquiring new locks. But the real surprise was yet to come. The debris from Liberty Station wasn't just floating randomly. Jake Morrison had calculated its trajectory perfectly. As the lead alien ships flew into the expanding cloud of metal, their energy shields began to fail. The Zephyrian shields were designed to stop energy weapons and guided missiles. They had never been tested against thousands of simple pieces of metal moving at orbital velocity. It was like flying into a cosmic shotgun blast. Shield failure on ships 12 through 37, reported the alien tactical officer, panic creeping into his voice. Admiral Kethver watched in disbelief as his lead ships began to spark and smoke. Hull breaches appeared across their surfaces as chunks of human space station punched through their armor. On the USS Defiance, Admiral Ben Clark saw his chance. All ships, attack now. Target the damaged vessels. The human fleet burst from hiding behind Earth's moon like angry hornets. 20 small patrol boats swarmed the wounded alien ships, their crews screaming battle cries over the radio. Captain Nicole Black piloted her ship's Swift Arrow directly at a damaged alien cruiser. Her vessel was tiny compared to the enemy ship, but she aimed for the hull breaches created by the debris field. "This is for Earth," she shouted, firing every missile she had into the alien ship's exposed interior. The alien cruiser exploded from within, taking 2 nearby ships with it, in a chain reaction. Nicole's small patrol boat had just destroyed vessels carrying 50,000 enemy troops. Lieutenant Gary Price, who had survived Liberty Station's destruction in an escape pod, watched the battle unfold. "They're actually doing it," he whispered to himself. "They're winning." On Mars, Colonel Amy Foster activated her Trojan Horse missiles. The 43 nuclear weapons that had been drifting like space junk suddenly came to life behind the alien fleet. "Surprise," Amy said as she pressed the detonation button. Nuclear fire bloomed across space as the hidden missiles exploded among the alien rearguard. The Zephyrians had been so focused on the threat ahead that they never thought to check behind them. Admiral Cuthbert spun around as alarms filled his bridge. "Report. Nuclear detonations throughout the rear formation. We've lost 68 ships. How is this possible? Humans don't have stealth technology." His tactical officer's voice shook. "Sir, I don't think they were using stealth. I think they launched those missiles hours ago and let them drift into position." On Earth's moon, Commander Linda Ross had been waiting for this moment. The alien fleet was passing directly overhead, exactly where her calculations said they would be. "Fire the mountain," she commanded, deep beneath the lunar surface. Mining explosives detonated in a carefully timed sequence. The explosions turned millions of tons of rock and metal into a directed blast aimed straight up at the alien fleet. The artificial meteor shower caught the Zephyrians completely off guard. Their ships were designed to fight in empty space, not to dodge chunks of moon flying at them at escape velocity. More alien ships fell as lunar rocks punched through their hulls. The perfect formation began to break apart as captains tried to avoid the unexpected bombardment. "This is impossible," Admiral Cuthbert shouted. "They're primitives. They have no advanced technology." His science officer looked up from his instruments with fear in his 4 eyes. "Sir, that's exactly the problem. Our tactical computers are designed to fight advanced civilizations. They can't predict what primitives will do, because primitives don't follow logical military doctrine." Meanwhile, Dr. Kevin Wright was making final preparations for humanity's secret weapon. In a laboratory hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains, he powered up the failed FTL communication array. "Are you sure this will work?" asked Dr. Susan Lee. "No," Kevin admitted. "But if it does, it'll be the biggest electromagnetic pulse in human history." The machine hummed to life, drawing power from 3 nuclear reactors. Energy levels climbed far beyond safe operating parameters. "Firing in 3, 2, 1, ... The pulse shot out from Earth like an invisible wave, traveling at the speed of light. It reached the alien fleet in 1.3 seconds. The Zephyrians used quantum entanglement for their communications, creating an instant network connecting every ship in their fleet. The system was incredibly advanced and efficient. It was also completely unprepared for a massive electromagnetic pulse. The communication network didn't just fail, it collapsed catastrophically. The quantum entanglement effect that linked every ship suddenly worked in reverse, sending feedback through the entire fleet. Admiral Cuthbert's bridge went dark. Emergency lights flickered on as his crew struggled with dead instruments. "Communications down fleet-wide," someone reported in the darkness. "Navigation offline. Weapon systems not responding." Across the alien fleet, 800 ships lost. Controls simultaneously. Some drifted helplessly. Others spun out of control. A few collided with each other as their pilots flew blind. Captain Danny Hall, commanding the human patrol boat Thunder, couldn't believe what he was seeing. The entire alien fleet just went dead in space. Admiral Ben Clark's voice crackled over the radio from the USS Defiance. All ships, press the attack, hit them while they're down. The human fleet swarmed over the disabled alien ships like wolves attacking a wounded elk. Small patrol boats darted between the massive vessels, firing missiles into critical systems. Captain Maria Santos piloted her cargo ship, Braveheart, toward the alien flagship. Her vessel was loaded with every nuclear bomb the military could find. "This is Captain Santos," she radioed to the fleet. "Beginning my attack run. It's been an honor serving with you all." Maria aimed her ship directly at Admiral Kethfer's bridge and pushed the engines to maximum power. The cargo ship, never designed for combat, became a guided missile carrying enough nuclear firepower to level a city. The Braveheart smashed into the Sovereign's Wrath and exploded. Nuclear fire consumed both ships in seconds, taking Admiral Kethfer and his command staff with them. With their flagship destroyed and their communications dead, the surviving alien ships began to surrender. White lights appeared on hull after hull as Zephyrian captains activated their emergency beacons. Captain Pete Rogers, floating in an escape pod from Liberty Station, checked his watch. The battle had lasted exactly 6 minutes from first shot to final surrender. On Earth, President Lisa Parker watched the tactical display in amazement. The red dots representing the alien fleet were disappearing, one by one, replaced by white surrender symbols. "Status report," she said quietly. General Carl Murphy's voice was filled with wonder. "Madam President, we've won. Total victory, we estimate. Less than 50 alien ships escaped. The rest are destroyed or surrendering." In the White House Situation Room, grown men and women began to cry. They had prepared for the end of human civilization. Instead, they had witnessed the birth of humanity as a galactic power. Dr. Kevin Wright slumped in his chair, exhausted but triumphant. "I can't believe that actually worked." Dr. Susan Lee patted his shoulder. "Kevin, you just saved the human race with a failed science experiment." Across the solar system, human forces began the cleanup. Rescue ships moved to collect survivors from both sides. The few remaining alien commanders broadcast their unconditional surrender on all frequencies. The 6-minute war was over. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged victorious through pure audacity, improvisation, and a willingness to try impossible things. The galaxy would never be the same. In the darkness of his crippled flagship, Admiral Kethfer tried to understand what had happened. Emergency power flickered on and off, casting strange shadows across his bridge. His tactical displays showed nothing but static. "Damage report," he ordered, his voice shaking. His engineering officer crawled out from under a collapsed console, green blood dripping from a cut on his forehead. "Sir, it's not just damage. Our entire computer network has collapsed. The quantum communication system didn't just fail, it destroyed itself." Kethfer felt a cold fear in his stomach. "Explain." "The electromagnetic pulse from the humans somehow triggered a feedback loop in our quantum entanglement network. Every ship in the fleet was connected, so when one system failed, it pulled all the others down with it." Across the scattered alien fleet, similar scenes played out on bridge after bridge. Ships that had conquered 17 worlds now drifted helplessly in space, their crews struggling with systems they no longer understood. Captain Nicole Black piloted her patrol boat, Swift Arrow, between the disabled alien vessels, hardly believing what she was seeing. These massive ships that had seemed invincible just minutes ago were now sitting ducks. "Command, this is Swift Arrow," she radioed to Admiral Ben Clark. "The aliens aren't even trying to fight back. Most of them don't have power for their weapons." Ben's voice came back immediately. "Confirmed, Nicole. Intelligence reports their entire fleet is operating on emergency power only. Press your attack, but watch for ships that might still be functional." Nicole targeted a Zephyrian cruiser that was slowly spinning out of control. Her small ship carried only 6 missiles, but she aimed them at the alien vessel's engine section, without shields to protect it. The massive ship was as vulnerable as a paper airplane. The missile struck home, and the alien cruiser broke apart in a silent explosion. Debris scattered in all directions, some pieces hitting other disabled ships and causing secondary explosions. On the moon, Commander Linda Ross watched the chaos through her telescope. The carefully organized alien formation had become a disaster zone of colliding ships and spreading debris fields. "Sir," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving surrender signals from multiple alien vessels." Linda nodded grimly. "Relay the signals to Earth Command, and keep tracking any ships that might try to escape." Dr. Kevin Wright sat in his underground laboratory, staring at the readings from his electromagnetic pulse device. The machine had worked far better than he had hoped, perhaps too well. "Kevin," Dr. Susan Lee said, looking at her own instruments, "I think we accidentally discovered something important about alien technology." "What do you mean?" Susan pulled up a computer model showing the alien fleet's communication network. "Look at this. They built their entire military around perfect coordination. Every ship was connected to every other ship in real time." Kevin studied the display. "That's incredibly advanced. It would give them perfect tactical awareness." "Yes, but it also made them completely dependent on the network. When we broke it, they didn't just lose communications, they lost the ability to function as a military force." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its assault on the helpless aliens. Captain Danny Hall's patrol boat Thunder had joined up with 2 other small ships to attack a group of alien destroyers. "Look at them," said Captain Kate Wilson over the radio. "They're not even trying to maneuver. It's like they forgot how to fly their own ships." Danny understood what she meant. The alien ships were clearly advanced, but their crews seemed lost without their computer networks. They flew in straight lines or gentle curves, as if their pilots had never learned to fly manually. They probably haven't, Danny realized. If their computers always did the flying, the crews might not know how to pilot these ships by themselves. This gave the human pilots a huge advantage. Every human pilot had trained for system failures and manual flight. They knew how to fly when their computers broke down. The aliens apparently did not dot. Colonel Amy Foster watched from Mars as her hidden missiles continued to cause havoc in the alien rearguard. Even after the initial nuclear explosions, the confusion was spreading. Alien ships were bumping into each other as they tried to avoid debris. "It's like watching dominoes fall," Major Rick Davis observed. "Each ship that gets hit causes problems for the ships around it." Amy nodded. Their formation was too tight. They put all their ships close together for maximum firepower. But that means when something goes wrong, it affects everyone. The humans had learned this lesson the hard way during their own wars. Spread out your forces so one disaster couldn't destroy everything. The aliens had apparently never faced an enemy clever enough to exploit this weakness. Captain Maria Santos had already died when her cargo ship Braveheart destroyed the alien flagship, but her sacrifice inspired the crews of the other suicide ships. Captain Bill Parker, commanding the cargo vessel Hope's End, aimed his nuclear-loaded ship at the largest remaining alien vessel. "This is for Maria," he radioed as he began his attack run. The alien ship, a massive carrier holding thousands of troops, tried to turn away but moved too slowly. Hope's End smashed into its side and exploded, taking half the carrier with it. Similar attacks played out across the battlefield as human cargo ships gave their lives to destroy the largest alien vessels. Each explosion sent shockwaves through nearby ships, adding to the chaos. Admiral Ben Clark coordinated the assault from the USS Defiance, but he was amazed at how little coordination was needed. The alien fleet was destroying itself through a series of cascade failures. "Sir," reported Captain Lisa Hayes from the communications center, We're tracking escape vectors for approximately 40 alien ships. They appear to be running for the edge of the solar system. Ben considered pursuing them, but decided against it. Let them go. They can spread the word about what happens when you attack Earth. On the alien flagship Sovereign's Wrath, what was left of it, Admiral Kethfer made a desperate decision. With his ship dying around him and his fleet in ruins, he activated the emergency surrender beacon. The signal went out on all frequencies in multiple languages. This is Admiral Kethfer of the Zephyrian Empire. I surrender unconditionally. All Zephyrian forces will cease hostilities immediately. The message was repeated over and over as it spread through space. One by one, other alien captains activated their own surrender beacons. The great invasion fleet that had conquered 17 worlds was giving up after 6 minutes of combat. Lieutenant Gary Price, still floating in his escape pod from the destroyed Liberty Station, watched an alien rescue ship approach. Instead of capturing him, the aliens were clearly coming to surrender to him. This is Lieutenant Price of the Earth Defense Force. He radioed to the alien ship. Do you surrender? The response came in broken English. Yes, human. We surrender. Please, do not destroy us. Gary couldn't help but laugh. He was one man in a tiny escape pod, and an alien warship was asking him not to destroy them. Dr. Wright's electromagnetic pulse had done more than just disable the alien communications. It had revealed a fundamental weakness in their entire civilization. They were so dependent on their technology that they couldn't function without it. It's like they never learned to improvise, Dr. Susan Lee observed. When their computers stopped working, they just ... stopped. President Lisa Parker watched the battle end from the White House Situation Room. In 6 minutes, humanity had gone from facing extinction to achieving total victory. The tactical displays showed alien ships either destroyed, surrendering, or fleeing in panic. Casualties? She asked quietly. General Carl Murphy checked his reports. We lost approximately 300 personnel, mostly from the volunteer suicide ships. Considering we were facing 2 million alien troops, our losses were remarkably light. Lisa felt a mix of relief and sorrow. 300 brave people had died to save the human race. Their sacrifice would never be forgotten. Across the solar system, the cleanup began. Human ships moved to secure surrendering alien vessels. Medical teams prepared to treat wounded prisoners. Engineers started planning how to study the captured alien technology. The 6-minute war was over, but its consequences would last forever. Humanity had proven that technological superiority meant nothing without the will to use it creatively. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about underestimating a species that had spent its entire history fighting itself. In the silence of space, floating among the wreckage of the once mighty Zephyrian fleet, the age of human expansion was about to begin. 3 hours after the battle ended, President Lisa Parker stood before the cameras in the White House press room. The whole world was watching. People had seen the alien ships arrive. They had felt the fear of invasion. Now they needed to hear that it was over. My fellow Americans and citizens of Earth, Lisa began, her voice steady and strong. Today, humanity faced its greatest challenge. An alien force of nearly 1,000 ships came to conquer our world. They believed we were primitive and weak. They were wrong. Around the world, people gathered around televisions and computer screens. In New York, crowds filled Times Square. In London, families hugged each other in living rooms. In Tokyo, children who had been hiding in bomb shelters came out to see the sky. The invasion has been defeated, Lisa continued. Our brave military forces, using courage and creativity, have achieved total victory. The alien fleet has surrendered. Earth is safe. The celebration that followed could be seen from orbit. Cities lit up with fireworks. People danced in the streets. Church bells rang. Car horns honked. For the first time in human history, the entire planet was united in joy, in space. Admiral Ben Clark coordinated the massive cleanup operation. Hundreds of alien ships floated dead or surrendering throughout the solar system. Human vessels moved carefully between the wreckage, rescuing survivors and securing technology. Status report on prisoners, Ben asked. His aide. Captain Lisa Hayes checked her tablet. We've rescued approximately 200,000 alien survivors. Most are requesting asylum rather than return to their empire. Ben raised an eyebrow. Asylum. Apparently, their military philosophy is that any commander who loses a battle this badly should be executed for incompetence. They'd rather stay here as prisoners than go home to face that. The irony was not lost on Ben. The aliens who had come to conquer Earth were now begging to stay as refugees. Dr. Kevin Wright stood in the cargo bay of a captured alien ship, surrounded by technology that was centuries ahead of anything humans had built. His team of scientists moved carefully through the vessel, recording everything they saw. "This is incredible," said Dr. Susan Lee, running her hands over a control panel that responded to her touch with lights and sounds. Their computer systems are based on quantum processing. Their energy systems use controlled fusion reactions that we're only beginning to understand. Kevin nodded, but his attention was focused on something else. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a series of thick cables running along the walls. "Every system on this ship is connected to every other system. There's no manual backup for anything." "What does that mean?" "It means when we destroyed their communications network, we didn't just blind them, we paralyzed them. Imagine trying to drive a car where the steering wheel, brakes, and engine are all controlled by a computer that just crashed." The captured technology represented a leap forward for human science that would take decades to fully understand. But more important than the machines was what the battle had revealed about the aliens themselves. Commander Linda Ross interviewed one of the captured Zephyrian officers in the makeshift prison camp on the moon. The alien sat across from her, looking confused and defeated. "I don't understand," the alien said through a translation device. "We studied your species for months. You had no advanced weapons, no energy shields, no faster-than-light travel. How did you defeat us?" Linda smiled. "That's exactly how we defeated you. You expected us to fight like an advanced civilization. We fought like humans. I do not understand the difference. Advanced civilizations follow rules. They use proper tactics. They fight logically. Humans don't do any of that. We use whatever works, even if it's crazy, or stupid, or impossible." The alien officer shook his head. "Your tactics made no sense. Turning a space station into a bomb, hiding missiles in empty space, destroying your own moon to create weapons. These are not logical military strategies." "No," Linda agreed. "They're human strategies." On Earth, General Carl Murphy met with military leaders from around the world. The victory had been won by international cooperation on a scale never seen before. American ships had fought alongside Russian missiles and Chinese communications systems. "We need to think about what comes next," Murphy said to the assembled officers. "The galaxy knows about us now. There will be other alien civilizations out there. Some might be friendly, others might not." General Antonio Silva from Brazil raised his hand. "What about the Zephyrian Empire? Will they send another fleet?" Murphy smiled grimly. "According to our prisoners, that's not how their empire works. They sent their entire military to conquer us. We destroyed it. Now they're dealing with rebellions on 17 worlds that they can no longer control." The news from the Zephyrian Empire was indeed chaotic. With their main fleet destroyed, the aliens could no longer maintain control over their conquered territories. Rebel groups that had been crushed for decades were rising up again. The mighty empire was collapsing. Captain Nicole Black stood on the bridge of the captured alien cruiser that was now her new command. The ship was enormous compared to her old patrol boat, with technology that seemed like magic. But she missed the simplicity of human engineering. "The aliens built everything to be perfect," she explained to her crew. "Perfect efficiency, perfect coordination, perfect tactical systems. But perfect systems can't handle the unexpected. Our engineer, Chief Petty Officer Mike Turner, laughed. Good thing humans are really good at being unexpected. Dr. Wright made another important discovery while studying the alien computers. The Zephyrians had detailed files on dozens of other alien civilizations. Humanity was not alone in the galaxy. There were hundreds of intelligent species out there. According to this data, Kevin told President Parker during a video briefing, most alien civilizations develop along similar patterns. They focus on efficiency and logical thinking. They build perfect societies with perfect technology, and that makes them vulnerable to chaotic thinking like ours. Exactly. We're probably the only species in the galaxy that spent its entire development fighting itself. Other civilizations had peaceful evolution. They never learned to be sneaky, unpredictable, or desperate. The implications were staggering. Humans weren't just lucky, they were uniquely adapted for a type of warfare that no other species understood. 6 months after the battle, Admiral Ben Clark stood on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar ship, built using captured alien technology, but redesigned with human engineering principles. The Hughes Explorer was ready for its maiden voyage to the nearest star system. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" asked Captain Danny Hall, who had been promoted to serve as the ship's executive officer. Ben looked out at the stars and smiled. "Danny, 6 months ago we defeated the most powerful military force in the galaxy using scrap metal and failed science experiments. I think we can handle a little space exploration." The Explorer's mission was diplomatic rather than military. Humanity wanted to meet other alien civilizations as friends, not conquerors. But the ship was well armed, just in case. As the ship jumped to hyperspace for the first time, Ben thought about the 300 humans who had died to win the 6-minute war. Their sacrifice had not just saved Earth, it had opened the galaxy to humanity. On Earth, memorials were built to honor the heroes of the battle. Captain Jake Morrison, who had turned Liberty Station into a weapon. Captain Maria Santos, who had given her life to destroy the alien flagship. The crews of all the ships that had volunteered for suicide missions. But perhaps the most important memorial was less visible. In military academies around the world, students studied the Battle of Earth. They learned that technology alone could not win wars, that creativity and courage mattered more than perfect weapons, that sometimes the best strategy was to do something so crazy that the enemy never saw it coming. Lieutenant Gary Price, promoted to captain after his heroic survival of Liberty Station's destruction, often spoke to these students. His favorite lesson was simple: never fight the enemy's war. Always fight your own war. The galaxy had learned to fear the mad humans who could destroy an entire invasion fleet in 6 minutes. But humanity preferred to be known for something else as the species that would try anything, help anyone, and never give up. Years later, when human ships explored distant stars and made contact with peaceful alien civilizations, they were greeted with a mixture of awe and nervousness. The story of the 6-minute war had spread throughout the galaxy. Some aliens wanted to learn human military tactics. Others wanted to trade for human technology. But most just wanted to make sure that if trouble ever came to their worlds, the crazy humans would be on their side. Earth had started as the target of conquest. It had become the guardian of galactic peace, simply by proving that sometimes the best defense was a good offense, and the best offense was something nobody expected. The age of human expansion had begun, built on the foundation of 6 minutes that changed everything.